What's up, wrestling fans? It's Monday, August 4th, and we just finished watching tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, and it's time for us to gather for the Monday Night tradition for us here on MegaPowersRadio.com, the MPR Raw post-show. Can't promise you guys too much in-depth Raw reviews tonight. Gotta say, tonight's edition was rather lackluster. I spent half of it just sitting in bed, half watching, doing my best to pull in what I can to tell you folks about the show, but gonna go ahead and give you some pre-warnings here. If you're expecting a full in-depth breakdown of every single thing that happened on Raw tonight, we're not doing that tonight. Tonight we're gonna be unbuttoning that top collar and probably doing a lot more bullshittery. But let me introduce who we got with us tonight. I'll be hosting things. I'm the lead. Oh, God, I'm so thrown off my game from this fucking Raw. I'm Mike Paden, station director here at Mega Powers Radio. With me tonight, the leader of the Drew Crew, Mr. Drew White.
I am Drew White, and that Raw was a match. That's about it.
It's about as exciting as one single match, the whole thing combined.
Yeah,
Mr.
exactly.
Tony Mango, the president of SmartOutMoment.com, is with us as well. What's up, Mr. Tony?
Oh, man, not my fucking eyelids after this episode.
Oh, my God. This is going to be pretty negative. I feel bad for anyone who actually enjoyed the show tonight. You're going to be hearing us pissing and moaning about lots of things. Let me ask you guys, as I always do at the beginning, what's the number one thing you took away from the show tonight, if anything, Tony?
$9.99. Jesus Christ. I don't think you can take anything else away from this episode other than $9.99.
Yeah, it almost I don't even know if that was supposed to be a serious thing they were pushing, or if it was supposed to be a tongue-in-cheek thing, or if it just was completely silly and they just kept running with it. What the hell the deal with that was? But there's certainly this whole 999 thing coming out. You had something to add, Drew?
Oh, no. I think they released that they only have 700,000 subscribers to the network. They're pushing for that million mark, I believe, by the end of the year. I think that's why they were excessively pushing that tonight. Maybe. How should I know? I'm not an insider. I don't write for Bleacher Report. I'm like, Mango, why aren't you on your games on?
I actually am. I wrote an article during this episode.
Oh, well, keep up the good work, son.
About 999?
I might as well. I mean, shit, that's the only thing getting any talk. You better write 999 articles about it. WWE would love me. They'd hire me.
Oh, goodness. All right, Drew, what's the number one thing you took away from the show tonight?
That if the thing that closes the show is going to be a Diva segment, then I have lost all faith in this SummerSlam this year. But I heard that G1 Climax tournament's pretty good, though. That's a thing. That's a match right there.
Oh, goodness. And if it had to come from me, man, just an overall feeling of non-excitement for the upcoming pay-per-view SummerSlam. Our main event, both people involved in the main event were not in the house tonight. No John Cena, no Brock Lesnar. I don't even recall seeing Paul Heyman at any point to speak on behalf of Brock Lesnar. Just no mention of it whatsoever. Our main event thing we got to see tonight was the contract signing between Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella. And, a lot of people are complaining about this feud, saying this is going to be our main event going forward, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? To be fair, these girls are tearing down the house. These people are getting super excited at every single thing these girls are doing the last number of weeks. So if they're in the main event, I'm honestly going to say it's because they deserve to be there. And if it's a complaint of not something else being there, well, maybe that's because those other things are not kicking up their game and moving their way up there. Chris Jericho and Bray Wyatt is not lighting anybody's world on fire right now. Brock Lesnar, John Cena weren't even in the house. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, I'll give them a little bit of credit. They're catching up there. But other than that, nothing else has the steam behind their feud as any of these other ones do. But
you want to know what else I could take away from this show? I don't mean to interrupt you really quickly, but there's something else I really want to take away. If WWE's plan is to give the title to Brock Lesnar, we are so screwed because we're never going to see him at all except on pay-per-views. So that's going to be something to watch. Not to watch, technically, because he's not going to be there. So, yeah. That tournament, though. That was a match.
I think Brock Lesnar would have a likelihood of being there more if he actually had that title around his waist. Might be a little bit more motivation.
Except The Rock, when he came in, he showed up at least to almost every week before he won a title. Because he was always cutting a promo of some sort. He didn't wrestle, but he was at least there to at least say something. At least have Paul Heyman there the mouth guard, the mouthpiece of Brock Lesnar to at least say something instead of giving us this stupid vignette that they showed like 3 times tonight. Which I thought it was a good little promo video they had, but that's probably gonna be the promo video they're gonna show before the match, so it's gonna be really redundant by then.
Well, at least it doesn't have that stupid "I'm a Monster" song.
Gosh, okay. That promo was actually really good. That video that they showed, I thought it was good. You hated that song, but the video was still good.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, let's pull it back to Stephanie and Brie. I think this is the one thing we're actually going to have something to talk about. So let's just try to take this serious for just a moment, can we?
Okay.
Yes. If I could be serious for a moment.
Just a moment.
To quote a more entertaining wrestler than anything we saw tonight. Yeah. Drew, what'd you think about Brie and Stephanie? I
liked it. I really thought the fact that Stephanie pulled out the pedigrees at the end, I was like, oh, kill him, Stephanie. Ooh. I'm loving the feud, but I know I'm going to be really hating it in a couple weeks at SummerSlam because I'm not a fan of it. I know this isn't going to be good unless they just do some bullshit interferences. I will give credit. The feud is interesting, but it's just I don't know what they're going to do with it after SummerSlam. Once they get there, I'm not going to be looking forward to it because I know it's just going to not be that good unless they surprise me. If they surprise me, pull a hell of a match out of these two, which, you know, if this gets a lot of steam and heat going into the SummerSlam pay-per-view itself, because you know that Los Angeles crowd, they're not the best per se. If it's heated, that match gets a lot of heat at the pay-per-view. It could be something. I don't know if it'll be much, but it could be something. I really like the segments they showed with them tonight, but I'm just not looking forward to the match still.
I'm actually going to pull something someone from the Bleacher Report wrote, so maybe it was you, Tony, or maybe it was somebody else, but they were saying that the match between Stephanie and Brie is going to be an utter disappointment because Brie Bella's matches usually have a low star rating on the Dave Meltzer scale. Really? Okay. Listen, if you're going into this match expecting Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, then yes, you are going to be horrifically disappointed.
That's why you set this bar low.
Yeah, this is going to be just something fun. This isn't going to be arm bars and arm drags. This is going to be slaps and pushes outside the ring and throwing water bottles into each other's faces. This is going to be just absolute ridiculousness.
They should make it a disqualification match. They should add some type of stipulation to it.
There could be. I would definitely expect a lot of outside interference. I'm sure Triple H would be there. I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Bryan makes an appearance. And I would definitely expect that to have some type of influence on the match as well. But, Tony, let me take it over to you for a little bit. What are you expecting out of this, and what do you think about their contract signing tonight?
I'm not a big fan of contract signings. I think that they're the same thing every single time, and they're completely skippable. And this one was, too. And another thing that bothers me about this is they are completely dependent upon the fact that the people need to talk and then have like that one little breakdown where they fight and whatever. The fight never really amounts to much. And what they say is the thing that anybody will be able to take any actual entertainment out of. And what's the biggest flaw that Brie's been having lately? Her promo skills. I think she's better in the ring than she's probably ever been, and I think that she's great to look at, and I think that she's got an interesting character and a lot of these other positive things, but she is not good on the mic. And she's not selling this because she's got to have this kind of veracity behind her, and she's just coming off like she's struggling to get it all out. I mean, tonight when she was cutting that promo part about the karma, there's a flat-out obvious thing that you could say there. Karma's a bitch, which will go into what they've been saying constantly, and that's on the fault of the writers, but it's also on the part of her to not be able to just realize that and say that and go with the flow.
Oh, Tony, if she said that, then you would be complaining about her being cliche.
No, I like cliches. I mean, I love puns and everything, so cliches are right on that same scale, but she's just not somebody who I can really buy as being threatening. So all that logic goes out the window when I'm watching this feud. Stephanie, I can. And then Brie comes back with her little retorts, and it kind of seems like the feud is Stephanie being a real vindictive, manipulative, powerful woman that doesn't wrestle. And then Brie, who is a wrestler, that is basically just going like, oh, yeah, well, you suck, and I don't like you. So I don't care about this segment. I'm not really interested in watching the match. I think that it's a good story, but they're not pulling it off as well as they should have.
You're a bitch.
Let me throw this. Let me throw a reference to something else that I think we're probably going to be talking a bit about tonight with Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy is the opposite of this situation where we have really fleshed out and awesome heroes, but the main villain that they're facing off against is very plain, very one-dimensional, nothing excruciatingly awesome. But it really doesn't harm the movie because he's kind of supposed to be that way. He's just meant to be this generic force that the good guys are going against. I think we're getting the opposite with this Stephanie McMahon and Brie feud. I think that Stephanie McMahon is the really fleshed out villain, just going against some type of generic good force for her to go against. And Brie Bella, I think, is the best option in this based on all the things that have been written. It's not about so much about what she's saying and more about the position that she's in. It doesn't really matter who Brie actually is, just that she is that person in that situation. You know, it could have been Nikki they put there, and they could have been feuding with John Cena all this time, but all the roads lead to Brie. And considering this is her first time really being involved in something at this scale, I think she's doing a fine job. She's not the next, I don't even know who to say the next. There's no like great woman talker throughout history, but she's not going to be the next female Jake the Snake. I'm not making any defenses about that, but I think these women are doing a fantastic job for what they're being given. And as I said, they're rising above all the other male storylines in the company right now.
Yeah. You're right.
You don't think that it's just that they're giving that more of a focus and they're actually on the same level as everybody else, but because they're paying more attention to it, it makes it seem like it's better?
No.
I'm sorry, say it again?
My process of thinking about this is that it's not that they're better, it's just that they're giving them more time. It's kind of one of those things where if you tell somebody something enough amount of times, they'll believe it, as opposed to necessarily having the facts to back it up. Like, a popular person can become more popular because of the fact that everybody knows that they're more popular, not because they actually they're warranted to be more popular.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you because remember that time every week when Natalya and Hornswoggle and Great Khali were coming out together?
What about it?
Remember they just kept shoving that down our throats and sending them out every week? Or how about that time when Alberto Del Rio was world heavyweight champion for like a whole fucking year and no one bought it? So I don't think that theory works.
I think it works to a certain extent because they weren't making the Natalya thing a priority. They are with this.
Well, they made Del Rio a priority for sure, and that didn't work out for him.
Yeah, that's true. Well, fuck Del Rio, that's why.
Yeah, it's Del Rio. What are you thinking? Jesus,
God, yeah, Jesus Christ. We're talking about Brie Bella here, not Del Rio. I mean,
yeah.
Del Rio's a whole nother level of suck. All right, folks. Just want to remind y'all this is the most interactive post-Raw experience available. We haven't been doing too much of that tonight. We're just kind of concentrating on our upsetness with tonight's show. Some bugginess was going on with the chat room. I just reloaded it, and it seems to be working a little bit better. I still only see 3 people in the actual user pane, but I definitely see more people in the actual chat room. So I apologize I'm not giving you shout-outs for being there. I know Stephen Wago is still repping the brand in there, even though he's over in jolly old England. John Bruce, I see in there, 5 times combo. Appreciate y'all showing up. And let's go ahead and open up our phone lines as well. It's 11:30. If you want to get yourself in line to dial in, get your opinions voiced here on the Raw Post Show on MegaPowersRadio.com. Dial in area code 760-512-7247, or you could also use the Skype button at the top of the page. Get yourself in line to shout out your thoughts about tonight's show. With that, let's bring on our first caller from the 412. It's JD from Pittsburgh. What's up, JD?
Fellas, what's going on?
Well, we're all quite upset here, dude. Are you as upset as we are, or how are you feeling about tonight's show?
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, this was an absolute cluster piece of fucking shit tonight. I mean, it really was. It was an embarrassment. It was a sham. It was a farce. I mean, it was absolutely a crock of crap. I mean, there you have, once again, Randy Orton becoming Mr. Kiss-Ass to Triple H and the Authority, and especially after his little comments this week on Twitter calling a fan. I'm sure you guys heard about what he said, however. And what happens? What do they do? Oh, we don't punish Randy Orton because he's kissing Triple H and blowing him at every chance. Then we have his little whore wife, Stephanie, slap Brie Bella and Nikki Bella. And what does he do, however? He holds Nikki Bella back because, obviously, his little slut of a wife, however, figures she can have the last laugh. I mean, this
hold
was
on, JD.
absolute...
I don't want to stop you when you're on a roll, but you brought up this Randy Orton thing. I'm actually not familiar with what exactly happened here. I saw him post some kind of tweet saying, "I apologize if anything I've said offended anybody."
Okay. Well, the word was he called someone, apparently a fan, however, Latino Miss Piggy, mind you. I guess no. This is serious. I mean, he really did, and apparently he said that this fan has been stalking him and his girlfriend. And meanwhile, the words were, however, that once again Randy came off as like a douche. And needless to say, what happens? Management doesn't punish Randy Orton because he's Triple H's little butt boy, if you will, and he can do whatever he wants. Give me a break.
You just told me. You just said she was stalking him. Wasn't that? I mean, if someone was stalking me, I'd call him a Miss Latino Piggy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, come on. That's a slap in the face to a fan. I'm sorry.
I can think of like 10,000 things I could say that worse to someone to piss him off more. No offense. That's not that bad.
There is a thing to be said about legitimate heat as a heel, but when your company is also promoting this whole "Be a Star" campaign, it's very contradictory.
Thank you.
Yeah,
At least someone's
stalking him.
Yeah, but come on, that's the crock of shit. I mean, yeah, I understand it was wrong, but at the same time, however, he should not be showing his character side, saying, "Oh, I'll call your names in that when they're trying to be a star campaign." And speaking of being a star, once again we have to have Kami Rusev and Kami Horlana run their yapper, if you will. Needless to say, to Zeb Coulter, "We the people, we the people."
So,
like I've said, I'm just sick of seeing these people week in and week out, and I hope Swagger shoves the U.S. flag right up their ass at SummerSlam. I'm going to miss SummerSlam, but I hope it happens. But the thing that really pissed me off more than anything tonight was this whole Cena Brock Lesnar thing. I mean, this was a joke. I mean, seriously, I agree with Cena in some part. Brock is a hired gun assassin. I think he is that. And where Paul Heyman was tonight, to answer your question before I continue on, the word was he was doing an interview in New York, apparently, however, and I guess he couldn't have a private plane wait for him on standby to take him back to Austin. So next week, being Hulk Hogan's birthday and all, Cena and Brock are going to be there. And, of course, they're supposed to have more guests for apparently Hulk Hogan's birthday. There's been talk of Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Mean Gene Okerlund, a bunch of people showing up at Hogan's big birthday party next week. But the thing that pisses me off is you've had very little build-up for this. You should have just canceled the match. You should just cancel the match right now at SummerSlam and let it build up until Night of the Champions and have the first match at Night of the Champions. They've had no build-up for this whatsoever.
You're not wrong, man. When you think back to that first the first Cena Brock match since Brock returned, when Brock just came back the night after WrestleMania, laid Cena out, things got personal real fast. At this point, I don't feel any personal issues. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. I mean, there's nothing wrong with just a match about pure athleticism, but they're not necessarily building up about pure athleticism either. John Cena's doing his same old shtick. Who was it he was actually talking to last week on the stage? It was Cesaro.
Cesaro and Heyman, yeah. And that was the best match of the night. And then tonight, he's off in New York filming a movie. Brock, Mr. Penis Steroid Boy, obviously he decided to have the night off because it's in his contract because he's only allowed certain dates, however. And I said last week before, and I've said for weeks on end, guys, that's one thing that pisses me off about Brock. And you even agreed with me last week about this, Mike. I mean, if he wants to be a champion, he's got to show up more than once every couple months. He's got to be a fighting champion and show that he can carry the gold. Otherwise, it's time to give someone like Roman Reigns the belt. I mean, Roman Reigns, once again, had the fans eating out of his hand tonight in Austin, and you saw what he did in that match with Kane, which was the best match of the night by far.
You're not wrong, man. But listen, the more I think about it, the more I think that there's a possibility Brock might not win this match at SummerSlam, but even that kind of pisses me off because you built this guy up, you had him defeat the streak this year, and then you're just going to have him be fed to Cena a few months later just to build the character of John Cena, who's been around as a top guy for over 10 years. It gets old. You're right. So much more they could have done with this situation, and if they keep making those types of choices, they're going to paint themselves into a corner. I hate to say it, but you almost have to put that belt on Brock and then have him put somebody over. Not John Cena, but somebody else. That's the only way you're truly going to make another star out of this situation.
And the word is if it's not just Roman Reigns, the one guy they're talking about putting it over also, even though he wasn't on again tonight, is Cesaro. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things that piss me off about this show tonight. Next week, they better put on a good go-home show. I mean, quick side note before I give you my high point and low point. In a couple weeks, 2 weeks from tonight, I'll try to call you guys while I'm on vacation. I'm leaving for the beach in 2 weeks. So I will miss SummerSlam, but I will be, I'm going down to the Outer Banks of North Carolina with my family and friends. So I will try to call you guys when I'm down there, obviously, and check in with you guys and give you the blow-by-blow. But I am going to miss SummerSlam. But right now, I just feel that SummerSlam right now is a big miss. I mean, they have not done anything to hype up the show at all. It's the same old bullshit. You got AJ and Paige. You got Jericho and Bray Wyatt. You got The Wiz taking on Ziggler. Yeah, I'm so fucking excited about those two.
Did you say The Wiz?
The Wiz. Yeah.
I like that. The Wiz.
I could take a big steaming pile of crap and a piss on him right now. I mean, you talk about a guy who comes back with a big ego. The Miz obviously has come back once again, showing his ego once again.
Well, to be fair, last year's SummerSlam was built around 2 matches, and that was Daniel Bryan and John Cena and Punk and Lesnar, and that was still a very good show. This year they have multiple feuds going on that can be good. I mean, the Miz and Ziggler can put on a good match. I mean, we know Bray Wyatt and Jericho, they could do better than what they did last pay-per-view. Reigns and Orton could do something, and it's Paige and AJ Lee. They might have not had the best match at Battleground. It's going to be better this time. So there is something there, potential. There's just nothing to be built upon because the past couple of weeks has been nothing to show.
Drew,
but did you guys see the buy rates, though, the last couple of months? I mean, look what WrestleMania's buy rates was this year because of the network. And talking about the network, enough for the goddamn hyping of the network. They did that so many goddamn times tonight. It made me sick. But you look at the buy rates for what happened at WrestleMania. You look at Money in the Bank. You look at Extreme Rules. Hell, you look at Battleground. I mean, Battleground, they're probably going to yank out after this year. But look at what Money in the Bank was. 77,000 down buys. They took a big hit at WrestleMania. Extreme Rules in May, they took a huge hit there. I mean, it's time to start maybe thinking, go to 4 major shows and maybe do one big show, like minor show, like say a Money in the Bank or a Hell in a Cell. I hate to say it, cut out the Battlegrounds, cut out the paybacks, and I hate to say it, cut out maybe TLC and Extreme Rules. If they want to save money and get people to still invest in this network, start scaling back your pay-per-views.
Oh, man. Creatively, I think that would be a fantastic thing to do. I just don't know if financially they would ever do that.
Remember when TNA did that?
Who? TNA? Never heard of them. That's the company that just fired Vince Russo and has Dixie the Horror going through a table this week, obviously. But real quick, one high point and low point before we cut it loose for the night. Roman Reigns, Kane, as I said, great match, good last man standing match. Worst match of the night, however, the Sandow freaking Mark Henry thing, and then you have the Rose thing in the back. Oh my God! I mean, right after that first match, it's just like you wanted a big bucket or a couple buckets actually ready to throw because most of the night was the same old bullshit. Like I said, it was funny to have Ambrose pull that one on Rollins. I did like that, and that was worth a chuckle. But like I said, the end of it with the contract signing once again was Stephanie the whore and her little bitch boy husband doing it to the bells. I mean, like I said, I just hope Nikki does something to Stephanie at SummerSlam. But like I said, you heard the people yell CM Punk tonight, however. And
you hear him yelling every night.
Yeah, but it got even louder again tonight. I do want to see Punk back eventually, and I hope he does come back one of these times because I would love him to stick it to the Authority. But once again, like I said, someone has got to tell the Authority it's time to fucking go away. We've had this going on for a year. I mean, someone has got to be in charge. I don't care if it's Hulk Hogan next week. I hope he does it. But if not, I hope someone like Stone Cold Steve Austin is at SummerSlam. And there is talk he is going to be at SummerSlam. But I hope he comes in and just sets the Authority on their ear because right now someone's got to tell the Authority, quit hogging the fucking spotlight week after week with the same old bullshit crap we hear from your mouth week in and week out.
JD, we got a question for you from the chat room, actually. Our very own Wago. He's away on vacation himself over in England, but he had a question for you.
How's the weather over there, by the way, Wago?
We'll see if he gets an answer on that one. But he asks you, who do you hate more, Stephanie or Dixie?
Oh, wow. Well, I think Stephanie more because she runs the same old bullshit every week. Dixie, of course, because she has new friends with her ECW goons like Snitsky, Ezekiel, and Rhino. I mean, she's really just running that company to the ground more and more, and I don't think they're going to get that new TV deal. I mean, there's ongoing talks about TNA, however, I don't see it happening. I mean, not to say Dixie's a bitch, and she is a bitch. I'd say Stephanie more. She just continues to run the same thing every week. It's like, oh, you're a B-plus player, your husband's this and that, and everyone should just bow down and kiss my ass like Randy Orton, my husband. So, yeah, Stephanie the whore, I think I would say I hate more than Dixie.
Waco got your answer, too. He said, nice weather in the low 70s. Holy crap, I'm jealous.
It's in the 70s here, actually. It's nice here, too, tell him. I mean, we've had some rain lately, but it's nice. Hope he's having a good time over in England.
Hope you have a good time, Waco.
I hope Waco has a good time, and hope you have a good time on your vacation as well, JD. Although I think we got one more week before you go, right?
Yep, next Monday I'll be back for the go-home show the night of Hulkamania, of course, however. It'll be 61 next Monday. It should be. I'm hoping it's a better show next Monday because, like I said, however, it just, right now, this is usually not the time they're in trouble. I mean, usually they get a little bit better heading into SummerSlam, but this year, I mean, the last couple months, it's been the same old bullshit since WrestleMania. They got to turn it around going into the fall, otherwise they're in big-time trouble.
All right, JD, anything else on your mind tonight?
No, but I just wanted to get my 2 cents in as always, and maybe before I leave, possibly next week or maybe sometime when I get back from my vacation, however, one of these nights, however, if anyone has any questions for me besides that, however, I'll be glad to take some questions, and I'll tell it how it is.
It's on the table. Oh, JD, did you see Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, I didn't actually. I have not seen it. I talk about that. That surprised me. That grossed $90 million this week. I thought it was going to be a real big dud. I have not seen it yet, but I've heard some people say it's a pretty good movie. I'll have to check it out this week.
All right, fantastic. Hopefully we'll get your recant on that because that was a phenomenal movie in my views, and it's getting pretty good reviews all around, so I think you'll definitely enjoy it. But, JD, We got another caller in line. Another fantastic from Call As You as always, bro. Have a good night. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Talk to you later. See ya.
All right, fantastic call from JD. As always, the phone lines are open for anyone out there who wants to call in as well. Area code 760-512-7247 is the number to get yourself on there. Also, you can hit the Skype button at the top of the page and get yourself in through Skype if you prefer. We got the chat room rolling nicely as well. Once again, I can't read the names tonight because Blog Talk Radio is being lame, but maybe just pull something out here that this chat was actually saying some awesome things while we were on the phone call there, so I couldn't shout them out during it. But 5 times combo saying this just in. Orton is personally pouring oil in the Gulf of Mexico. Now that's heel heat. Okay, I guess you had to get context for that. They were talking about the South Park episode with the guy who just goes, "We're sorry. We're sorry." That's where the joke came from. All right. Fucking never mind. It's not funny then. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. All right. We got a call from Restricted. I don't know who's Restricted, but we're going to bring him on. Restricted, you're on Mega Powers Radio. What's up?
Hey, guys. It's John again.
John again? What's up, John again?
From last week, yeah.
How you doing, man? How's the land down under treating you for this episode of Raw tonight?
Very good. I actually managed to take some notes this time, so I didn't come in blind.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a good. Yeah, it went well. Again, no work for the day, so I managed to be able to watch the whole thing live.
That's great. But what time does it start for you over there?
We started up at 10 a.m. and it ran till about 1:20.
Holy shit, that's gotta be so different. I'm so used to seeing it not just at night, but so late at night. I mean, the show doesn't even start until 8 o'clock. It goes until not just 11, but, quarter after 11. By the time it's done, unless it's an exciting show, you're just so tired and drained. Do you usually get that feeling too? I mean, does the 3 hours just drag for you? Or since it's more around like lunchtime, is it just like, just another show?
I always find I generally find it all right. The start, I'm pretty, like today I was pretty pumped because Raw's here in just 2 days for us, so it was really exciting for me. I was, I think there was no real energy for the pay-per-view as such, but just more anticipation watching all the superstars coming in and wrestling and knowing that in 2 days they're coming down here.
Yeah, it's definitely something you can build anticipation for you. It's like, all right, I'm seeing them on screen for the last time. All these stories that are happening now may affect what I'm going to see in a couple of days. I can understand that excitement. But just like you said, though, nothing whatsoever building up for SummerSlam. Really, the only thing we saw were the Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella contract signing and a little bit of interaction with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Did either of these catch your eye? Did they make you more excited for anything at SummerSlam, or are you like us where you're just kind of falling flat for this pay-per-view?
Well, the pay-per-view in general is feeling. I'm still like last week. I'm still enjoying the Jack Swagger Rusev build-up. The Kane and Reigns match at the start was good. Randy Orton's promo at the start though was quite bland and dry, and I couldn't help but just laugh the entire time through the start when Triple H was dropping $9.99 a month. And wait, what are they saying? Oh, Roy, there you go. That'll keep happy. I think, have you guys heard Cesaro's theme? They changed it on SmackDown.
Oh my goodness, now it's got like ambulance sirens instead of the bomb siren that they had before. Oh my god, somehow they made it worse.
I was sitting there on SmackDown, and I was saying if it comes up on Raw as well, it's just going to re-emphasize it. I really think they should go back to when he had his original song, the Swiss one.
Oh,
I really thought that was something which was really well suited to him. I thought his lighting was really good, and he had an actual song. This one's just generic rock.
Yeah, you agree with Tony? I know you haven't been as big of a fan about that song as well.
Yeah, I like that song. It's
Terrible.
It's a good song. Shut up, Mango. You're Debbie Downer, you. Go read some articles on Bleacher Report. Read about 9. One of the big things which I wanted to bring up with you guys was the no Lesnar and not necessarily John Cena, but the lack of Brock Lesnar on Raw really, really hurts that main event feud. In my opinion, because he's just not there to promote himself, and it's just a payday, which I think is what they're trying to put across. But you know what?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Drew.
What I was gonna say, it feels like since Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar, I feel like WWE thinks that Brock Lesnar is a big enough name that they don't need him there to promote it. It's like, hey, it's Brock Lesnar, show up. I feel like that's what they're trying to get across.
Well, let me ask you, John, is MMA as big over in Australia as it is here in America?
It's, well, I watch it. On a personal note, I do watch it. But not a lot of my friends or anything really watch it. I mean, it's not something, it's like wrestling. It's probably a little bit more known than WWE here. But, I mean, it's not as homegrown or anything because cage fighting in Victoria, where I live, is illegal. So that obviously doesn't assist what's currently illegal. They're trying to legalize it, but it doesn't help the promotion.
So wait,
I feel you. We're in New York. It's not legal here either. What were you going to say, Drew?
I was going to say, so can they not have a cage match in WWE then? Did it?
Oh, they could have a cage match, but I mean, the only ones they're having are the only one I've ever seen WWE have is a street fight. They're the only ones I've ever seen, and they call them Melbourne street fights, but there's nothing Melbourne about them.
Of course they do. Just another name for the street fight. There we go. Tony, I actually to get your opinion about this, but what did you think about Brock Lesnar no showing tonight? Do you think that he's more vital in promoting SummerSlam, or can they do it okay without him?
For the most part, I don't think that they really need him. If he becomes the champion, then they really do. But for now, people are just going to be interested in seeing the match where they're not. And having him come out and cut a promo where he's sitting in the ring doing it instead of a backstage promo or something like that, it's not going to make that much of a difference.
I think for me it was not just about him cutting a promo, because we all know he's not the best on a microphone, and Heyman's where he leans to for that. But having Heyman, hopefully next week is what I'm hoping for, is something where Cena comes out, Heyman comes out after him, and they start sharing words, and Heyman starts talking up his victimizing John Cena, and he says, how about this? You hear Lesnar's music come on, and then Lesnar doesn't come out, but he comes in through the crowd and takes Cena out. We need something like that to sort of we need something for, we need some physicality before the actual fight to sort of build up the idea that this is going to be a fight. Even if they have, tonight, they could have had a bit of a face-to-face and then backed it off, or Lesnar just decides to back off, and then next week it's just a right brawl around the arena to run out Raw next week or something.
I agree with you, man. Next week, if they had to do what they had to do this week, which, to be fair, John Cena wasn't able to be there. He had his filming thing, obligations that he had to fulfill. And if John Cena's not there, I can kind of understand not having Brock there either, because you'd want to have, like you said, have a face-to-face if you're going to have both of them there. But you could have had Paul Heyman there. People like hearing Paul Heyman speak. He could have came out and just had one segment or even just a backstage interview with him. Hell, if he couldn't be there, do an interview via satellite. If he's in New York, have him head over to WWE Studios and go into one of their interview chairs and just have a little broadcast message there. Just something, so we're not seeing that same damn promo that they played like 9 times. 9 times, in fact. But next week, it's going to have to be made up. This is their last week going to SummerSlam. They need to have both of them in the building and both of them doing some really amazing shit, because if this is going to be your main event for your second biggest pay-per-view of the year, you're failing bad. Real bad. No. John, what else stuck in your mind tonight? Anything offensive? Anything you really enjoyed?
Nothing too enjoyable. I did enjoy the lady at the start of Raw who gave Roman Reigns the hug. That was enjoyable. So
Good.
Just quickly, I think I was going to say with the Lesnar feud as well, and I think Tony already emphasized it. Oh, by the way, Smack Talk on Saturday. I love the death of TNA, the video. That made me laugh so much. It was really entertaining for my shift at work.
Glad to hear that you liked it.
That was a landmark episode for sure. For those who haven't heard it, you want to hear, we're always talking about WWE on this show, and usually only talking about WWE on Smack Talk as well. We spend a good, it was 40, 50 minutes just recapping all these things about the possible / imminent death of TNA. We talked about what we thought the biggest blunders of the company were, some of the stars we'd like to see possibly come over to the WWE, just a lot of things about relating to the current situation with them. So I certainly recommend going to smarkoutmoment.com, checking out that episode of Smack Talks. I think that's going to go down in history as one of the best. But sorry, John, continue.
That's all right. No, it's good. Get the plugs in. The only thing I've really got else to point out is, in my opinion, if Lesnar does win at SummerSlam, there needs to be a big rub for a superstar, and it can't be John Cena again. It's got to be, like right now, if you pick one, it's probably going to be Roman Reigns who gets a rub, but someone needs to get a big rub if Brock Lesnar wins, and it can't be a main eventer. Like, e.g. was Roman Reigns, probably not Cesaro, I doubt, but somebody who's not a main eventer who they want to be the big time, Brock Lesnar needs to give them the rub, because he's got the streak, and if he's going to have the belt as well, you can't just flip-flop it to John Cena.
I love that idea, but who is there? I mean, who have they been setting up to be able to take that kind of leap right now? Roman Reigns? That's about it. Cesaro, they completely dropped him the last couple of months. He's going to need a lot of rehab to get back to that. Seth Rollins can't do that. Dean Ambrose, I would not buy him against Brock Lesnar. Who else? Dolph Ziggler? Kofi Kingston? Like, there's no one you could do that with.
Clearly, by the end of tonight, it's going to be Heath Slater. I mean, come on.
I think so.
Hearsay Heath is going to pull back full form.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, John, what was your high point and your low point for tonight's show?
All right, so well, we'll start with the low point because of the. I thought the low point for me, I was gonna give it to Sandow, but then Fandango introduced his new dancer.
Oh God!
And I said good night. Yep, there you go. There's my low point. It was terrible. I actually walked out of the room like with a red face. I felt embarrassed. I felt so bad for Fandango. I think I agree with Triple H when he said when he was insulting the crowd after, I think it was WrestleMania, when he was saying, "Look at, you remember Fandango, da da," and then we stopped doing it, and then he got dropped. And he's definitely a talent, and he's been wasted doing this crap with is it Diego? I think it's Diego.
Sure.
It's just a waste of his talent.
Oh, what was your high point? Something more positive.
My high point, I was about to take a crap on the main event because it was Rollins and Slater, But I ended up making it my high point because I thought Dean Ambrose running around ringside grabbing people's popcorn and drinks and everything was a really funny, entertaining thing to be watching. And even though it wasn't like a big point, that was the highest point I found in the show. It was the most entertaining part for me tonight.
Yeah, I agree. That was a very awesome segment. John, one last question for you. I think I'm going to make this a regular tonight. Did you see Guardians of the Galaxy starring Batista?
It's actually not out in Australia yet. I think it comes out tomorrow.
Oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and...
We always come in behind.
Well, I personally recommend it. I think it is one of the funnest movies to come out in like a decade. It's got Batista in it, so you got that attachment to wrestling in it. And just in general, awesome movie, I would say. Very hard to be disappointed. Not perfect. I'm not going to give it that distinction, but I don't think anyone's going to go into this that's at least somewhat of a comic fan or at least somewhat of a movie fan of any kind that won't like it. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. John, fantastic call as always, man. We didn't get much Aussie slang tonight, though. We did get you to say right, though.
That's all right. No worries, mate. You're a good bloke.
All right, man. Why don't you go throw another
chat room tonight?
Why don't you go throw shrimp on the Barbie for us?
Tony, you can expect the sign me up in 2 days as well, buddy.
Awesome, dude. I appreciate it.
All right, John.
Good,
great.
mate.
Thanks for calling in.
So, thank you very much.
Crikey.
Thank you, John.
Crikey.
Thanks, John. Have a good night, man. Oh, goodness. 2 great calls in a row. Thank you, everyone, for participating tonight. You're making this a lot more fun than it should have been. I mean, I was coming in after this Raw thinking like, oh, God, let's get this over with. I don't even want to talk about this stupid Raw, but once again, here on Mega Powers Radio, my co-hosts and you fans make this a good time. So thank you all for participating.
Hey,
once again, shout outs to all those in the room. Like I said, I see 5 times combo. Ferris419 is in there now. John Bruce just called in, also in the chat room as well. I'm sure there's a few guests in there. If you're a guest, get yourself registered so you can chat in the chat room and people know who the heck you are. If for some reason you don't see the chat room at the bottom, please refresh the page. We were having some bugs earlier where the chat room wasn't showing up. Should be working fine now. And of course, if you want to dial in and get your voice heard here on the MegaPowersRadio.com Raw Post Show, the number to get yourself in line is area code 760-512-7247 or hit the Skype icon at the top of the page. So, bring it back to you guys for the panel discussion about the things that happened tonight.
We have to talk about shit.
We're really running out of fun things to talk about. I don't know if I want to talk.
You mentioned like, oh man, if this isn't that bad of a show, it's because we've only talked about 2 things that actually happened on Raw. We haven't talked about any of the stuff that really sucked yet.
No.
Apparently, I was Fandango's new dancer. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, that's exactly what I was going to transfer into here because John Bruce brought that up last. Fandango has been falling on hard times lately. Originally, he lost his dancer, Summer Rae, so he brought in Layla. Now he's lost Layla. He's been losing a number of matches lately. And tonight in segment, I think he lost the last bit of his dignity when he debuts his new dancer, a bald-headed Hornswoggle.
What?
Yes. Yeah, Hornswoggle comes out. He's doing the little salsa dances with Fandango. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous. Fandango ends up losing in the end, and they all dance around him. By all, I mean like Diego, El Torito, Summer Rae, Layla, and Hornswoggle. This was just an absolute atrocity.
So wait, did Hornswoggle turn face in the process?
I don't know. I don't think.
It sounds like you just mentioned he started dancing with them. Was he wearing a dress or was he dressed like Fandango?
He was dressed like Fandango.
I gotta watch it. Oh,
no, he was wearing like a little mini version of the Fandango rainbow pants and vest outfit that he wears.
Fun fact: did you know Dylan's only like 27? He looks like he's like 40-something, but he's only 27.
Oh my God, he's younger than me.
I know. I was like, oh God, he's young as shit.
Tony, what'd you think about this, man? Is Hornswoggle going to be joining Tony's tyke soon?
He's small enough to be a tyke. But this is awful. And it really sucks because, man, Fandango deserves so much better than this. I don't know why they think that this is the type of thing that'll go somewhere. Is that really going to make people feel endeared to him or really entertained or something? I don't get it at all. I just hate it. I think it's the stupidest thing. I didn't pay attention to this match at all. When they said the newest dance partner. Part of me was just thinking maybe Roundface is going to come back or something like that.
Yes! Yes! Roundface, please come back.
Maybe he's going to debut some new diva and this is actually going to go back on track and she's going to feud with them or something. But nope. And literally the second that Hornswoggle came out, I went back to working on stuff and didn't pay any attention. I didn't even know that he had fought in the match. That's how little I paid attention to it.
Doesn't Hornswoggle ruin what little dignity any storyline has left? It feels like it's always him.
Unless he's fighting El Torito.
Yes. I mean, we have the anonymous GM. I mean, God. We all
I forgot how much we were praising that story when that match happened. We're like, yeah, this midget fight ain't so bad. Yeah, now we're back to hating this crap.
Because it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was decent.
I think that was all
before Drew McIntyre got fired.
Yeah, that was all because of Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. They were the reason that story was awesome.
Drew McIntyre fighting himself by throwing himself through tables.
I would watch a match of Drew McIntyre versus himself over watching this Fandango Hornswoggle bullshit.
Just keep him on the roster, rehire him, and have him fight matches against nobody. And then you could fire like the Hornswoggles and the Diegos and everybody else like that. Because, keep those contracts, get rid of the other people that you don't need and just have McIntyre versus tables.
What is that new
chat room? Chat room is being hilarious right now. Talking about Roundface. 5 times combo says, "You can see by the shape of the face that she's a phenomenal dancer, mate." And for some reason, they're all talking in Aussie slang. Poor John Bruce. Hey, obviously we didn't scare him away from calling in again, so that's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Something else that was pretty lame tonight. We had that backstage segment with Adam Rose. Something about a mirror. I guess that's supposed to do with that Oculus movie that WWE films that came out like 2 months ago. So why they're just doing something relating to it now makes no goddamn sense. But yeah, Adam Rose says if he looks in the mirror, he's gonna see the complete opposite of what he is. He's like, so if I look in this, I'm gonna see a big old lemon. And when he did that, I actually expected him to see like a giant literal lemon, or at least him in a lemon outfit.
I thought that'd be awesome if he did that.
Yeah, I would have actually chuckled a tiny bit if it did that, but no, instead it's him in like a business suit, and it's like, oh, okay. and then it just kind of ends awkwardly, like no laughs, no nothing. Like at least put in a laugh track if you're gonna do something like that, but nope. Man, what a fucking waste. And I'm not just talking about this segment, I'm talking about Adam Rose. And there was no B! On top of it all, there was no B.
We miss you, B.
What are they like trying to accomplish here? Like, what is the end goal of having him look in a mirror and see himself in a business suit and be like, "Oh shit, business suit equals bad"? Well, like what is this? Is that supposed to make me believe in him becoming the next Intercontinental Champion or something?
Yeah, at least like the other segments were like shilling Sonic or Twisted Tea or whatever it was they're trying to sell at that point. This wasn't even a commercial. This was just stupid.
Right.
They're trying to sell mirrors. Come on. Duh. But this is in from the chat room. There was a B. We missed it.
Rosita was there?
I feel like we wouldn't have missed it because I always look for the fucking B because that's like the one thing that keeps me watching anything with Adam Rose nowadays.
No. 5 times combo is saying that she wasn't in frame, but you could see her in the reflection of the mirror.
What?
Whoever framed that should be fired. She should be front row and center, just like she was in that Twisted Tea commercial.
No. She should be the main person. She should be the one talking to the mirror. It shouldn't be Adam Rose. That's how she's more over than Adam Rose is.
Yeah, the bee and the bunny is going to be the big stars out of this whole Adam Rose thing.
If you've got the bee next to you, why are you looking at a mirror instead of the bee? And now I'm disappointed because I actually fell asleep during this episode of Raw. And for those who don't know, I like never fucking sleep. Like I've got permanent bags under my eyes because I tend to sleep dangerously low from what I should. And I still fell asleep at the beginning of this episode, and I woke up at the very end of this mirror segment, and now I'm disappointed because I thought before that was a good thing, that I missed the majority of it, but if I missed the B, then fuck.
Well, you didn't even get a good shot of the B, so it's not like it was worth it for that.
And one of the only good things that came out of TNA.
I think I ain't no bird.
Okay.
She's a fit bird.
Oh boy. All right. So I have a couple of positive things we can talk about. So let's run into those. We had a beat the clock challenge for both Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, where the guy with the shortest time would get to choose the stipulation for their match at SummerSlam. Dean Ambrose was the first one out. He faced Alberto Del Rio. Took a whopping 15 minutes for that match to end. And my God, did it just go on for freaking ever. Mostly because of Del Rio. Not much to say about that one. However, later in the night, Seth Rollins comes out for his match against Rob Van Dam. Could they have chosen worse opponents for these guys in our eyes? Luckily.
Maybe if they would have had a third person face Sheamus.
Luckily, it was a bait and switch. Rob Van Dam was not Seth Rollins' opponent. Instead, he was going to be facing Heath Slater. Oh yeah, Heath Slater in the main event of Raw. Good for him. However, it didn't really matter what was going on in the ring because the whole time on the outside, Dean Ambrose was creating a distraction. He took Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank briefcase, pulled out the contract, ripped it to shreds, took a big bite out of it. Then he started pouring soda and popcorn into it and eventually stuffed JBL's hat into it and was flinging it around. Which, by the way, just a little note for Alicia Fox, that's what you do with soda to look cool, not pour it all over yourself and look weird. Throwing that one out there. But the distraction, anyway, causes Seth Rollins to get rolled up for the pin, which normally we always hate on the roll-up pins. But I'm going to let this one slide because you know what? It was fun. Lots of fun, and most importantly, it secured a win for Heath Slater in the main event of Raw. Holy crap. Who's going to draft him on their team first? Drew, is it you?
Shit. I don't know. Xavier Woods didn't show up tonight. I don't think he did. Did he show up?
Who's Heath Slater?
No, Woods.
Woods?
Yeah.
I might have missed it during my half asleepness, but I don't remember seeing the fake nation tonight.
Where's the fake nation? Is that what we're calling him now? The wannabe nation?
Oh, until they give me a real name.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe. Shit, dude. I don't know. Hornswoggle sounds pretty tempting. I don't know. It's gonna be a toss-up.
Okay. Tony, do you have anything to actually add about this?
Well, it was a match. It was a match. Hey, it was a match.
I was disappointed in the Del Rio match, and I was overall kind of disappointed in the Heath Slater one, although you can't really expect too much with that. I got to disagree with the Alicia Fox thing. It totally was not hot, Dean Ambrose doing that.
I didn't say it was hot. I said it was cool.
It was cool.
Cool is actually the opposite of hot. Come on, Tony. Learn your fucking science.
One thing that confused me, though, how was putting JBL's hat in there supposed to be bad for Seth Rollins? Just fuck you, JBL on top of it. Like the popcorn, ripping up the contract, pouring the soda in there. Yeah, that ruins the briefcase. The hat doesn't do anything. That's just, while I'm at it, I don't like JBL either, so I'm going to ruin his fucking hat.
Wasn't someone messing with JBL's hat last week, too?
Maybe it's just something that they keep wanting to do over like a couple episodes of Raw here and there. They're bored out of their mind and they don't really want to actually write the episodes to be entertaining. So they're just like, yo, instead of like figuring out what to do for that segment, why don't we just like fuck with JBL's hat again? And somebody back's like, awesome, dude. Yeah, I'll just whip up a really crappy promo for this person to say they're gonna suck at it anyway, and then we'll just pass it on and let's try to brainstorm different ways to fuck with JBL instead.
He's gonna cash in the hat instead of the contract.
And the way that he cashes it in, he has to put it on the guy, and that's how he wins the title.
Ferris419 saying, it seemed like he was looking for something else under the desk. I think the hat was an improvised substitution. That could be. If it was pretty funny. Just the way he grabs it and then he like collapses it together and shoves it in. The look on JBL's face too. Oh my goodness. JBL's fantastic.
Yeah, the nerve of him. What the fuck was he looking for under the table? That made him improvise to grab a hat.
Bottle of
Who forgot to put the whatever the hell Dean Ambrose was looking for under the table? They should be fired. It's probably Hornswoggle. He probably took it.
So here's my question. Dean Ambrose ripping up that contract, does that have implications for the future? Does that mean that the contract is useless now and Seth Rollins is without a Money in the Bank?
I didn't know they actually had a contract. I thought it was just a fucking briefcase all this time.
The Money in the Bank contract.
I know. It's just a fucking briefcase, though. I thought there was nothing in the contract. In the fucking briefcase. I did not realize there was a contract in the briefcase. Because technically...
And now there's soda and popcorn and JBL's hat in the briefcase.
Well, no, except the thing is, you remember last year when Rhodes threw Sandow's briefcase into the river? Or ocean, wherever the fuck they were at? That would have ruined the contract, but the contract would have been void then. Hey, would have known.
Ferris 419 saying the stipulation that Ambrose is going to pick for their SummerSlam match will be for the briefcase. At least it should be, right? I don't know. I mean, after Ambrose just ruined it, why would he want to take that briefcase? It's filled with popcorn and soda.
Because he's a crazy son of a bitch. Well,
I thought Seth Rollins was hungry. And a cat.
He's still just angry.
I don't know what they plan on doing.
He was very angry tonight.
I think everyone was angry. Maybe his cat was taken or something. I don't know.
Maybe his box was taken.
Maybe his dad told him to cut down the music. Fuck you, Dad.
Should we answer this question seriously, or is this all we're going to get out of it?
What was the question?
Something about if the stipulation for the match should be for the briefcase.
Well, no, my question was, is this going to have implications on that contract? Like, does this void that contract now that it was ripped up? Or I think John Bruce was just saying, 5 Times Come was saying the Authority can just give him another contract, which is very easy to write in. But I don't know. I would actually think it would be kind of clever if they just ripped up the contract and that was it.
No, they shouldn't do that. I got Seth Rollins on my team. No.
Well, that would teach you a lesson. You should have taken Heath Slater.
Don't fuck with Sean. Oh, geez, with who would have him? No one had him though. This isn't Miguel's team from last year.
I don't think Miguel had Heath Slater even last year. I think even last year he had
last year, so it doesn't matter.
I think he had like 2 of the members of 3MB.
Did he?
I think so.
No, I think that was who we were joking. If like Dace wanted to join, he could have like Zack Ryder and 3-man band and like Santino. I think that was what we were offering him.
Well, 3 of them don't wrestle anymore now. At least not in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
3 others, 5. Yeah, that's a sad day. No one gives a shit. Okay.
Speaking of Chris Dace, actually, I had pulled aside a tweet from him that he had posted earlier. Chris Dace, good friend of the Raw Post Show and also hosts the Dace Man Show Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. here on MegaPowersRadio.com, archived on FanboysAnonymous.com. He says, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, ... neither on Raw, ... but we get the same promos 6 times, ... Why is WWE stock down? A very, very good point. Let's see here.
Because they haven't told people enough that it's only $9.99.
I feel like that's the issue. Wait, the stock or the thing?
Well, and here's something I also see. Speaking of that $9.99, I'm seeing a lot of international fans getting hurt about that because it's not $9.99 for them. It's going to be different prices throughout all those countries. Even Canada, who's going to be getting the WWE Network on their Rogers channel or whatever the hell it is, it's going to be $12 or $11.99, I should say. But
wait, like $12, it's translating to $12 in American, or is it just with their currency?
I'm guessing that's their currency, $11.99.
Oh damn! I don't want to know how much it is in Mexico then.
The Rogers channel. That's so Canada.
Yeah,
it's so unthreatening, and we've got like Spike and fucking
USA. We have like USA Network.
Yeah, we also have the O channel, so I don't know who we're gonna.
Oprah Winfrey, Oxygen, Fox, CNN.
So what JD distinguished as the match of the night, and I would tend to agree with him, was once again our opening match. I'm pretty convinced that this is becoming the norm, that they're always going to make the opening match the hottest match of the night. We had a last man standing match of all things between Roman Reigns and Kane. Not bad, nothing phenomenal. It's not going to go down in history as one of the all-time great last man standing matches, but for a match on Raw, very serviceable, very fulfilling, and I want to say started the show off on a much better note than the ended up being, but you know, at the end of the show and all 3 hours has passed and I'm looking back on it, it did not do enough for that. But it was fine. Roman Reigns got the victory after almost looking like he was guaranteed to be out of it when Kane chokeslammed him through that table. I was like, oh, really? Holy crap, Kane might actually win this. But no, Roman Reigns got himself up, got the spear on Kane to get the victory. Later on in the night, Kane enters the Authority's office, I guess you would call it. It's not quite an office. It's more just like a lounge. But Kane enters there, pulls off his mask, hands it to Stephanie McMahon, and walks out of frame. Kane, once again, taking off that mask. No idea what that can mean, but let me go around and get your guys' thoughts about this whole thing going on. Drew, what did you think about our opening match and Kane removing the mask once again?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe Kane's tired of being called the Demon. Maybe he realized he isn't a demon. Maybe he's just Kane. Maybe that's his issue. But for the match, it was okay. I don't expect much out of Kane because Kane's not that good of a wrestler. I don't really like watching Kane, so I didn't really pay attention to some parts. But from what I watched, it was okay. I already knew Kane wasn't going to win because why the fuck would he win? When was the last time he won a match? I mean, come on. It's Kane. Not corporate Kane. The Demon Kane. So it was a match, and that's the easiest way to put it.
Tony, what did you think about it?
This was actually where I had fallen asleep about midway through this match, so I didn't get to see much of it.
You fell asleep like in the first half hour?
Yeah, I just did not feel like watching Raw tonight.
I don't think anyone did.
But the whole idea of getting rid of the mask again, we've seen that a bunch of different times, and it's pretty much the same story each time. He gets rid of the mask because he's got another movie, or he's got some other kind of a position that they don't want him to have the mask on, and he does that because he needs to stop being the demon or whatever, and then eventually he comes back because he's got to get his demon side back, or whatever you want to refer to it as. So they're getting rid of it for that See No Evil movie eventually, and there's really no alternative to it. Maybe he'll pop up with that mask on and kind of look like Cody Rhodes, but he's probably just going to be Kane, and they're going to go back to that thing that they did before with the Jacob Goodnight thing, where he's got that hook and shit. Like, they're going to do something like that again.
I want to say two things. One, if he wears a mask, he needs to wear the clear mask that Cody Rhodes wore. And two, he's going to become the Big Red Machine again. Now, do you remember when they called him that back in the day? I remember those times. Yeah, that was a match.
And he's got to start using Cody's old theme. But it's got to be
grotesque.
It's got to be messed up to be like Kane. So it'll still go, whoa, but then it'll have like that organ in the background.
And then next year, he could become Kane Dust.
Or Sugar Cane. If they're just going to take things to the stupidest levels. That's what Stardust is doing.
Well, except Stardust is making it work, though. I'll give Cody a break. Actually enjoy it.
Yeah, I thought him and Goldie's match tonight was really good. Yeah, they had a match against RybAxel.
Oh, good for them.
It was short, but
what a surprise!
Yeah, well, I mean,
what a surprise! They had a match with RybAxel.
Well, at least they avoided that for a few weeks. It's not like there's an abundance of other tag teams for them to face.
One more thing. Because like I said, I missed an hour of the show. Where are the Usos on?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing them.
I don't think so.
Have they mentioned anything about a tag team? Fuck, dude. The tag team was like the only thing going for WWE right now, and they're not even pushing that.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing the Usos. Someone had mentioned Rusev. I completely missed seeing Rusev. I missed whatever they did tonight. I don't recall seeing the New Nation. I mean, once again, like I said, I was only half paying attention to a lot of the show, so it's very possible they were there and I missed it. But, throw all that on top of no John Cena, no Brock Lesnar. Man, there was a lot missing from tonight's show.
No Sheamus?
Yeah, well, he hasn't been there for a while now. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
He's got the flu or some crap.
Oh, maybe you got that, I don't know, that Ebola.
No, let's not go there. We don't need to bring that up here. Okay. That's already going on everywhere.
My bad.
There was a reference to Big Show, if that counts.
There's always a reference to Big Show. Hey, Mark Henry returned tonight. We didn't talk about that.
That's how desperate they were. They had to pull Mark Henry out of the locker room to get him to go out there and do a match.
I like Mark Henry.
Meh.
Yeah, it was a match, though.
So, I don't know what the hell else we're on the show tonight, guys. I'm just going to pass around to you, say if there's anything else that happened tonight that you want to throw out an opinion about. Drew, anything else on the show that affected you?
Apparently, since the Usos were on, I didn't miss much. Fuck. It sucks. I was actually looking forward to a tag team match, but never mind. Damn, fuck. Why would they want to please Drew White? I'm just fucking Drew White. Why?
Before I move it over to Tony, I'm just going to throw it to the chat room. If there's anything out there that you think we're missing that we should be talking about, please tell us. Because like I said, I don't have much notes about this. Tony has pretty much none either. Well, we don't know. Perhaps if you knock something in our heads, we'll make an opinion. Yeah. Drew never takes notes, dude. What are you talking about?
I just go on the fly. Usually, if I forget about something, it's just like, the match. Which wasn't that bad today. I just didn't have much to contribute anyway. So.
Well, none of us did.
I was already prepared.
None of us did. So for once, you
prepared for this
you
show.
You could feel at home.
I feel normal. I felt normal. This was my type of show. The show that no one else had anything prepared, and I didn't have anything prepared. Oh, I was at home on this one. I was ready to just go bang, bang, bang. You know what it is.
Oh, that's actually a good one. All right, well, before we bring up this one, let me bring it over to Tony. Tony, is there anything else that stuck out in your mind?
Absolutely not.
What? Cesaro got squashed by Ziggs? What?
Yep. John Bruce brought up another one. No AJ Lee was there tonight either. That's true. She got
what was Paige there?
I hope so. I mean, AJ Lee got quote unquote injured at Thursday Night SmackDown after being pushed off the stage by Paige. I would hope Paige was at least. Yeah, you know what? No, Paige was there. Now I'm thinking about it, I remember Paige being there. She had some kind of promo. I don't know what it was actually said, but she was there. So there's my opinion about that. But 5 times combo, bringing up another one that is actually a good one to talk about. Cesaro getting squashed by Dolph Ziggler. Man, Cesaro just can't catch a break. You know, last week I would have thought that he impressed a lot of people with that match he had with John Cena, but apparently not if he's going to go out there and lose in minutes to Dolph Ziggler, which, you know, Dolph Ziggler is a star on the rise right now. They're doing a lot with him. They're building up to go against The Miz. Even though I think he's not going to win, they still want to make him look like a credible threat. Cesaro deserves better than that, though. At least let them go out there and have a competitive match that I know those two guys could have, rather than that situation that they had there. And the ending was awesome. They did that sustained vertical suplex where Ziggler just dropped down into the zigzag. That was an awesome finish. If that had come after a good, hard, competitive match, that would have by far been match of the night. But as it was, an embarrassment for Cesaro, not helping Ziggler all that much, and didn't help me look forward to that match between him and The Miz. But get your guys' thoughts. Go ahead, Drew.
You want to know what this reminds me of? You know how it seems like Cesaro's getting that deep push. You know, people still like Cesaro, but it's kind of like how Ziggler, kind of got deep push after the whole concussion thing last year. Everyone still liked him, but they just decided to just like get him out of the picture anyways. It feels like they're doing the Ziggler to Cesaro. I feel like that's the easiest way to put it.
Think maybe
it was a match.
You thinking maybe they're just testing him? Like they're kind of saying, let's knock him down, see if he sticks around, see if he's worthy of being brought up to that next level.
Yeah, as much as I like Cesaro in the ring, he doesn't have much to offer. He has a terrible theme music. I don't like his gimmick, the King of Swing. I never thought that was an attractive name. But it's still something interesting, that the whole swing thing. I just thought that what they screwed up was they should have turned him face at WrestleMania, and that was their biggest issue that they had. They ended up turning Swagger's a face before him, for crying out loud. No one ever mentioned that before, but they. And
I believe Swagger actually got a victory over Cesaro on SmackDown this week. Just kind of like silently happened, but those two faced each other at SmackDown, and Swagger got the victory.
Yes. I think this is that time where Cesaro needs to pick up his game elsewhere if he wants to stay in his company, because, Ziggler has, despite the fact that Ziggler has always had that following with the fans, people have always cheered for him. Ziggler I think he's been improving a lot in the past year ever since he kind of got that deep push. He's coming across a lot better than what he did last year, so I'll give him ups for that. But Cesaro needs to really pick up his game if he wants to stick around this company, or he's going to get put down in NXT and become not much of a Tyson Kidd, because Tyson Kidd didn't have much to offer in the first place. But he might just be chilling out in NXT if he keeps this up.
Well, Cesaro was like the original Tyson Kidd. He was down there tearing the house down with Sami Zayn through all these matches. He was a fantastic treat down there, and you think after all that would have been his proving ground to come up to the main roster and do some awesome stuff. And once again, it seemed like they were going to be doing that, and they just lost interest. And I don't know why. I mean, I thought he was doing fantastic for everything they wanted him to do. People loved him winning that Andre the Giant Battle Royal. People loved when he first hooked up with Paul Heyman, and it just fell. It just fell so fast, and I don't really understand it, and I should because this is supposed to be my thing. I'm supposed to know why these things go on and what we're watching, but this is just completely baffling to me. In my mind, the guy has the tools, and what tools he doesn't have can easily be made up for or hidden, he's in a much better position than majority of your younger guys you have coming up. You could have easily put him into that spot. Like I said earlier, when you're looking for someone to beat Brock Lesnar for that title later on, you have Roman Reigns and maybe Cesaro if you hadn't screwed up the last couple months. And now that since you only have Roman Reigns. So that sucks.
They like, and I think we've mentioned this a lot of times. WWE hasn't been doing a good job building stars, and this might be another classic example of them, having faith in someone and then just not deciding to do anything with them. They literally have built maybe 4 stars since I've started watching wrestling again, and that was Daniel Bryan. If that, I mean, he's gone again, but he's probably going to come back. We'll see how he is. I don't know if he's going to be a superstar, but he was a superstar for like the 5 months. He was red hot. And then, we have, and the other 3 were stable at one point, and that was Roman Reigns, Ambrose, and Rollins. They're still going up. We don't know how high there goes, but we know Reigns is going to be killing it in at least a year.
Mm-hmm. Tony, any thoughts?
I agree, because what's weird about this, if you really think about it, and I didn't have it on my mind until Drew just brought it up. This is not the best person for me to use it as an example, but it's somebody that just came into my brain. Somebody like Rey Mysterio was a cruiserweight, just background kind of a guy in WCW. And he comes over to WWE, and he eventually becomes one of their top-selling merchandise guys, one of their most popular wrestlers or whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of Mysterio. I think he's massively overrated. But you can't argue with the fact that he's really popular. He is. And they didn't need to put all that effort into that. They just sort of let it happen. And sometimes they screwed him over a little bit, but a lot of times they gave him more than he really necessarily needed to. How many times did he beat somebody like Big Show? But you look at the guys like the Jerichos and the Shawn Michaels and the Bret Harts and Austin and almost all of these guys who really became like big names in wrestling. They did have experience and they did take a while to get to the point where they were at the top, but they got there. And they got there gradually, and they got there because they deserved it, and they got there because people let them get there and everything like that. WWE's not necessarily doing that. They're trying to be impatient, and they're trying to take somebody like maybe a Roman Reigns, and he could have another 3 years before he would have to be a main event guy. But he's got to be a main event guy right now because they've just screwed themselves where they've not let anybody get to that level unless they've filled a certain couple of different things that they needed them to. Kofi Kingston could have been a main eventer. He might not have been a huge star, but he could have been a main eventer at one point. He had a lot of popularity going behind him when he was feuding with Randy Orton. Mm-hmm. Dolph Ziggler could have been a major main eventer. Cody Rhodes by now could have been a main eventer. There's so many different people that they could have given a shot to. Ryback had fucking the crowd in the palm of his hand.
And they fucked that up.
And they fucked that up.
Yeah, they fucked that up big time. That might be the biggest fuck up in like the past 10 years with them.
Big time.
That big time. But with all the people that they mess up, they pushed Cena in 2 years, and look at him now. So it does work when they push someone really quickly.
It's funny you guys bring up this point. I was listening to the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. He had on Vince Russo, and I thought it was appropriate to listen to that with all the stories going on about Vince Russo. I was thinking, I've never really, listened to Vince Russo talk for an extended period of time. Let me check this out, try to get to know the guy a little bit more. First off, let me say, Vince Russo has a lot of good qualities. He has a lot of bad ones as well, but he's a man who loves his family. He loves the business. Regardless of the bad things he's done, I think he genuinely does love the business. But the point I was getting to was, he said the reason that Vince McMahon was such a smart businessman, especially for this quality of entertainment, is because whenever there was a good idea and Vince knew what was a good idea, he stayed the course. He wasn't like the people that he was working for in WCW or TNA where they wanted results in 3 months or that was it, out the door. Vince McMahon knew that sometimes it would take a year to see the results that you wanted to see, and he would hold on to that. And man, what a difference that Vince McMahon was to the Vince McMahon we see today, or at least the machine that's running it today, because that's not what you see anymore. There's no patience whatsoever to let something run for an entire year. We had twice in a lifetime and all that. Yeah, whatever. But as far as the progressing of a star or something that's new and different, not so much.
You know what? You mentioned that, but here's the thing: people are really impatient now. If someone loses one match, a lot of people are like, "Oh, they're burying him. I don't give a shit about him anymore." That's happened a lot of times.
That's a very good point. People overreact to if someone's not winning every single freaking match ever. If they get like one loss, even if it was a highly competitive match, everyone's being buried. That's a very good point. Tony, anything you want to add to this?
No, I think we pretty much said it all.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up talk about tonight's Raw. I think we hit all the major points about it. There's a few things we missed, but deal with it.
We did good.
Let's head into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yes, it is time for the good, the bad, and the ugly, where we run down what our favorite part of the show was, what our least favorite part of the show was, and what we thought was the most embarrassing part of Raw tonight. If you in the chat room want to let us know what your good and bad and ugly was for the show tonight, we'll be happy to read it on the air. But first, let's get things started with our good, bad, and uglies. Drew, why don't you start us off?
All right, my good. Fuck, there wasn't very many good. There's some good. I'm going to give it to the whole Stephanie McMahon, Brie Bella thing. As much as I'm going to really not be looking forward to it in a couple of weeks, for what it is right now, I'm into it. The bad, honestly, it might be Cesaro, kind of getting his D push. We'll see what happens with him. The ugly, even though I didn't see it, it just sounded terrible. It has to be Dylan as a dancer. I don't know how you would explain a midget dancing. It's so fucking weird.
It looks so awkward. He had no rhythm whatsoever.
Yeah.
And also because he's kind of fat. It's not like he's Torito has like plenty of like flexibility.
Fat.
Like, yeah, Hornswoggle's just a little fatty. But all right, Tony, what's your good, bad, and ugly?
The good was that I fell asleep and missed part of this awful show. The bad was the Adam Rose mirror segment, and the ugly Hornswoggle.
Before I give mine, we'll pull one out of the room. Our very own Stephen Huego saying the good was Rollins versus Heath Slater. The bad is the John Cena versus Lesnar build. What John Cena versus Lesnar build? Oh, I see what you did there. And the ugly was Dancing Dylan. I think that might end up being unanimous. Here comes another one. Ferris419. The good, Ambrose's antics. The bad, the Stephanie Brie build-up. Really? Oh, I wonder why you put that on your bad. The ugly, Hornswoggle. So there we go. Another vote for that one. And I'm going to wrap it up on that. My good. Oh, wait, we got one more. John Bruce.
No, you're never going to get it in.
No, yeah, no. John Bruce saying the good, Roman Reigns versus Kane. The bad, poor Damien Sandow. And the ugly, Hornswoggle segment, hands down. Looks like we're going for it, guys. All right, my good, I am going to say, was the final segment with Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella. These ladies have just been awesome the last couple weeks. Heck, when I first saw a month ago that there was those reports going around that one of our SummerSlam matches was going to be Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella, I was so adamantly against it. I spoke hate speech about it. I thought it was going to be one of the worst matches in the history of SummerSlam, and it may still be, but you know what? Based on the events of Stephanie McMahon getting arrested and the whole thing they did last week of her swerving Brie Bella into thinking that she was all upset and scared, but in the back of her head, she was always like, felt like the one who was in control. And even what they did this week, all good stuff. Fantastic, ladies. My bad, I am going to give to that Adam Rose mirror segment. It was just stupid. I couldn't even say it's ugly because it was just dumb. It wasn't even embarrassing. It was short and just made no sense. I think most people, if they were outside people not watching wrestling, they would just be confused and would just move on. What was without a doubt ugly, though, was indeed Hornswoggle coming out dressed as Fandango and doing that little salsa dance he was around the ring. Oh my goodness, I am so happy that I watched Raw alone tonight. And even I was embarrassed for myself. I'm going to be looking back 10 years from now thinking, yeah, remember when you watched Hornswoggle dancing around the ring in Fandango's outfit? Yeah, you did that, you schmuck. How can I live with myself? But, all right, folks, that's the good, bad, and the uglies for tonight. With that, we got one last bit of business before we leave y'all for the evening. give our hosts a little bit of time to tell you about what else is good going on in their lives. So let me give it over to Drew. Drew, tell the world about the Drew Crew.
Well, the Drew Crew is the Drew Crew, like always. Not much to say about it. Drew Crew holding strong. But since I am such a nice guy and Wago's going to kill me when he gets back, you can always go to UDMMA, 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 UDMMA.com, UDMMA, at UDMMA, UDMMA, UDMMA. Addicted to anime because I'm addicted to anime. And that's it.
Drew's going to get it all in while he can because Wago comes back. He's going to be all over him.
Yep. UDMMA.
Look at Drew getting all of Wago's shit in.
Oh, Facebook.com/UDMMA too.
All right, Tony.
Alrighty, guys. SmarkoutMoment.com is my wrestling website, if you don't know that by now. The podcast is Smack Talk, and you can find that on YouTube.com/SmarkoutMoment and iTunes and Stitcher. And one note about that, the next episode of Smack Talk is going to be a live one. We're going to do that this Saturday, August 9th, 8 p.m., megapowersradio.com, the same place that we're doing this stuff right here. You'll be able to call into the show, talk about whatever nonsense you want to talk about. We'll be answering your mailbag questions live. We'll be doing the Ask Him Wrestling Trivia Question of the Week, so you'll be able to call in and answer that. Try to get as much as you can that you guys want us to talk about ahead of time and throw whatever it is that you want out there. We'll be doing whatever you guys decide to throw our way. You can find me on Bleacher Report. You can find other A Mango Tree stuff like fanboysanonymous.com by looking through all the websites. There's links all over the place. And stay tuned to everything else that I got to say and follow those Facebook accounts and all that other kind of stuff. Saturday, mark your calendars.
All right, folks, you heard that Saturday here on megapowersradio.com. More wrestling talk with Smack Talk joining us for their quarterly live edition here. But as always, every single Monday night, if you've enjoyed us, join us following Raw, megapowersradio.com for our live Raw post show. We'll have the chat room open as always, the phone lines inviting you to call in. Hopefully things won't be buggy. It's Block Talk Radio, so they will. Oh, we're working on fixing that, though. Don't you worry, guys. We always got surprises planned for you. But if for any reason you could not be here for the live edition, check out the archive version on smarkoutmoment.com. Also available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube for easy subscribing purposes to automatically receive it on your feed. Also, just to throw this one out there, if you didn't know, myself, Tony Mango, and a number of other fanboys folk, including Drew White, I think even is going to be joining us out there, are going to be attending New York Comic-Con upcoming in October. So if any of you folks are planning on going to NYCC, please say hey to us. You know, we're going to be there having lots of fun. We're going to be there all 4 days. At this point, they haven't announced any wrestling guests, so I can't try to plug that, but they usually do have some type of wrestling personality there. So should be lots of fun to be had. Once again, that's going to be New York Comic-Con in October. So if you're in the New York area, please give us a visit. So with that, we're going to be signing off tonight. I'm Mike Paden for Drew White, for Tony Mango, and for everyone else who couldn't be here tonight, and for all the folks who called in. Thanks for joining us on the Raw Post Show on Mega Powers Radio, and we'll see y'all next week.